So we have reached Vallø on this castle tour. It's an old castle. It's a castle which has a rich history that stretches all the way back to the 1500s. So yeah, it's an old castle. But it is not this castle that is old. A little bit of it, but most of it is not, and I will get to that. But basically, what is Vallø Castle? Vallø Castle is owned by Vallø Stift, and it's the center of Vallø Stift. But what is Vallø Stift? Well, it's a foundation, let's call it that. It's a company that has money and they give it to these, charities and maintains this castle. Vallø Stift has 9 Stifts Ladies who all lives in there. Or at least there are apartments for them. Besides that, they have a lot of holdings, they have a lot of forests, and we'll get back to that. But first, a bit of a history lesson. Since the mid-17th century, Vallø Castle has been the main focus of Vallø Stift. And it has that with 9 apartments for the Stifts Ladies, which are women who are attached to the Stifts, and there's some history on it, but not a lot. But basically, they are women who get benefits from the Vallø Stift, and they live in there. Besides that, Vallø Castle also holds the administrative building for everything regarding Vallø Castle and Vallø Stift. In 1893, the accident happens. A candlelight gets too close to some cloth, and the entire castle burns. No one was hurt during this episode, but the cultural value that went up in flames is unfathomable. And after the fire, it took them 10 years to rebuild it all. Remember, they didn't have the tools of today, so 10 years is a fair amount of time because this was burned down. Not to the ground, but almost. They had to clean up by hand. They had to rebuild it by hand. It's an art piece. And still holds an enormous historic value. And the big red castle, the former royal buildings, they were turned into apartments and today also offices. There are those 9 apartments, and in the white castle, which is another building inside the castle, you can actually see it from the other side. It was changed into 2 apartments for the ladies of the Stift. So what can you do out here? What is so great about Vallø Castle? Let's look at that. So Vallø Castle is not open to the public, but the gardens are. You cannot see the castle, it is open for events, you can book it. But the entire castle gardens are open to the public. It's a great place for tranquility, it's a great place to get peace of mind. Because this is, despite its beauty, it is not a garden that is well visited. Of course there are people out here, but not that many. It is, for me, it's a place to retire myself a bit when I feel fed up at work. Because my work is right around the corner from here. And when I have had a busy day shift in the ER and I just want to, detach my head a bit, I usually go out here and just go for a walk and then drive on home. So yeah, you might meet me out here, and I will warmly recommend that you give it a visit if you're ever in the area. But is there other things you should know about Vallø Castle? Let's take a look at that. The Vallø Stift holds big forest positions, and yeah, you can ride out there for a price. And usually it is locals who buy a riding cart and they can have a guest along. But you can also rent it for parties. Furthermore, right outside the castle gate, there's an inn, Vallø Kro. I will warmly recommend that if you need lunch, try Vallø Kro. If you need dinner, try Vallø Kro. It's a great place to eat. I don't want to go there today because I'm not hungry yet and I have to get on to the next castle. But I have tried the restaurant and it is great. So yeah, it's a great restaurant. But let's head on to the next castle, which you'll find right there. Check it out right now.